was the top 10 plays for tonight. That's all for tonight, folks. My name is we're just getting this in. We have some breaking news for you. The Martlet McGill University's very own women's basketball has just won the RSEQ semifinal 85-60 against Concordia University. The result is also the 14th consecutive victory for McGill, which went 15-1 in regular season play and emerged victorious in all 5 meetings with Concordia this year. The Martlets, who have now won their 9th consecutive RSEQ playoff game since losing to Laval in the 2011 semifinal, advanced to Saturday's semifinal in a bid for their 5th consecutive Quebec title. However, the road has not always been so easy for women's basketball. In fact, women's basketball reaches back over a century of struggle, liberation, and gutsy play. The history of basketball began with its invention in 1891 in Springfield, Massachusetts by Canadian physical education instructor James Namath, as a response to a less injury-prone sport than football. As you can see, we are most likely going to know the history of basketball itself. But what about women's basketball? It was only in the winter of 1892 at Smith College that women's basketball began. Did you know that? It was created by Sandra Berenson, who was an instructor at Smith at the time, who taught basketball to her students, hoping that the activity would improve their physical health. Berenson was taking risks, simply in teaching the game to women. In order to keep it acceptable for women to play at all, she taught modified rules. These included a court divided into 3 areas and 9 players per team. 3 players were assigned to each area, guard, center, or forward, and could not cross the line in any other area. The ball was moved from one section to another by passing or dribbling. Players were limited to 3 dribbles and could not hold the ball for 3 seconds. No snatching or batting the ball away from a player was allowed. A center jump was required after each score. Peach baskets and a soccer ball were used as equipment. Variations of Bereson's rules spread across the country via YMCAs and colleges. It was only in 1896 that the first intercollegiate women's basketball game was played between teams from Stanford University and the University of California in Berkeley. However, it was only in 1976 that women's basketball was added as an official sport in the Olympics. A major development in women's basketball occurred in 1982 when the National Collegiate Athletic Association, also known as the NCAA, began to sponsor the sport. After failed attempts for women's professional leagues in the United States, the NBA founded the WNBA in 1996. Probably the biggest difference is that the circumference of women's basketball is 1 inch smaller than the circumference of the size of the men's basketball. As of 2008, this has been the size used for all senior level women's competitions worldwide. Also, in American professional basketball, the women's 3-point line is slightly closer to the basket than men's. Finally, the WNBA shot clock was changed from 30 to 24 seconds since 2000. Women's NCAA basket, however, uses the 30-second shot clock.
Although there are many other women's basketball leagues around the world, we know the WNBA best. A lot of women who play in the WNBA will play the season, which is usually about 10 weeks, and then play the off-season overseas. Why is this, you might ask? Well, professional women basketball players are not making the millions of dollars that their male counterparts do in the NBA. In fact, it's far from it. While the annual salary cap in the NBA for the 2014-2015 season was $63.065 million, the WNBA's is just shy of $1 million at $901,000. In fact, for the 2014-2015 season, there were 49 NBA players who made more on their 1-year salary than the entire league-wide payroll in the WNBA. The highest WNBA salary in 2015 was $109,500,000. Let's look at Brittney Griner, for example, an American professional basketball player who currently plays in the WNBA. She dominated throughout her college basketball career, earning 3 All-American awards while at Baylor University. In 2013, she was the first overall draft pick for the WNBA with a starting salary of only $49,440, compared to the number 1 draft pick in the NBA of 2013, Anthony Bennett, who received a starting salary of almost $4,500,000. What is interesting, however, is that the pay gap doesn't only exist between the WNBA and NBA, but also throughout the professional women's teams. Griner travels overseas on her off-season to play with the Golden Bulls in the Women's Chinese Basketball Association, where she earned $600,000 for a 4-month season. There are numerous professional leagues overseas on the hunt for women basketball players, such as Russia, Germany, Israel, Spain, and Turkey, to name some, who almost always offer a large salary compared to the WNBA. I'll give you another example. Diana Taurasi was the first-round draft pick in the WNBA in 2004 and is considered to many to be the best women's basketball player in the world. She has played year-round ever since, spending her summers with the WNBA and winters playing overseas. She announced that she would be sitting out her 2015 season with the WNBA as requested by her team overseas in Russia, where she gets paid nearly 15 times more than that of the NBA. There are many clubs overseas who offer bonuses and compensations for the players who sit out the WNBA season. Until now, players have always refused as they try to build the WNBA, but the pay gap speaks for itself. Our very young Canadian players have chosen many different career paths, some choosing to play overseas, some in the WNBA, and some both, like Natalie Okona, a power forward for Team Canada, who also plays for both the Indiana Fever in the WNBA and Napoli in Italy.
Canadian women's team, the national basketball team represents Canada in international basketball competition and is currently ranked 9th by the FIBA. The Canadian women's team recently participated in the 2015 Pan American Games held in Toronto last July. Canada dominated the rounds and won their first gold medal in the Pan Am Games. The team then participated in the 2015 FIBA American Women's Championship, where Canada beat Cuba in the final game 82-66, and they qualified themselves for this year's Olympic Games in Rio. We can also look at the McGill University basketball team. They will be participating in the RSEQ Championship after beating Concordia 85-60. The McGill Martlets will be facing the Rouge et Or from Université Laval on Saturday. If our Martlets win, they will qualify themselves to go to the CIS National Championship held in New Brunswick the week after. Even though they never won the national title, last year they came up short in the final, losing to Windsor 47-60. The McGill Martlets have won the RSEQ Championship for 4 years in a row, and we are hoping they make it 5. We wish them the best of luck and will be cheering for them. Go Red Go!
And that concludes our special for the McGill Martlets Road to Nationals.
And don't forget to buy your tickets for this Saturday's RSEQ final, McGill versus Laval, at 3 p.m. at Love Competition Hall.
Or tune in to CIS Television to watch the game live and to get more details.
I'm Catherine.
I'm Andrea.
And I'm Michelle. And we're signing out.
Keep dunking!